going on, everybody? Gustav the 13th here with another video. Once again, Happy New Year. Over here, we're doing our banner check for the week of the 1st of January 2026. And as promised, as we saw with the trailers and stuff leading up to it, we had the X-1 full cloth. Another crossbow and Gundam entry here at 750 as a general for growth, ground and space compatibility, rarity of 5, and a melee priority of 2. Immediately, one of my main gripes is what it is. We'll keep going, but we finally have the Peacock Smasher on a suit. This is a multi-barrel flexible weapon here with a interesting burst and a more interesting concept on its charge. So 500 power per, as you can see, multiple barrels here, so it's times how many actually hit. And they do mention that multiple existing weapons combined into one, capable of firing beams from 9 barrels, so 9. Normal fire is guided slightly towards the reticle, while focus fire is not guided but offers suppression. And that's interesting because you can tell that it is trying to bow inward and trying to center a little bit, but it does still allow for a good amount of spread because this is a pulse fire shot when it comes to the neutral shot on it. Then we have the M Blaster. Again, interestingly enough, despite us having this, and despite this also being a rifle, we do not have the rifle as a sub-weapon. We also do not have the alternate swing for using this as a spear in the max output mode. In a lot of ways, I will say this just to be clear and in the beginning, the X-1 FC has a lot of stuff combined from other suits, while not necessarily having the functionality of what those things would normally have. It feels a little bit neutered in places, which is a little bit odd, but the other things that they're trying to emphasize still make sense and are still potent. So yeah, the M Blaster, you don't get to use the shot, you don't get to use the spear alternate melee, because you do have instead the full cloth IF generator blow here. So you got your own fists. These actually have blowback on them and they can be used for aerial melee. Negates enemy unit buffer damage reduction and partially negates melee resistance. If an attack from this weapon knocks down an enemy unit, that can be blown back, but not with rapid combos. Note the blowback effect will not apply to enemies already under a status effect, which that's an interesting thing to keep in mind. And it feels more like a bug than a feature, but you know. Also compatible with max output T skills, and this is going to be something that we're going to run back to several times here. So compatible with max output T, and deals additional damage to enemy units exceeding a certain amount of HP during max output. So something that I think is a little bit odd about this suit is the fact that several of its weapons are actually affected by the maximum output. You can do mobile shooting with this, but only if you're going forward, kind of like the G-Bird and all that stuff. But there's no other, alternate fire or anything going on with any of these. So this doesn't get a special downswing like the regular X-1 does in max output. This still just does the regular stuff, you know, when it comes to the downswing and stuff, even though it is unique, so obviously there's no other point of reference for it. But this is mostly just me as a Super Robot Wars player, but I've seen them in V, and the Peacock Smasher does have a random shooting mode where it literally just gets to spin and do all this crazy shit, and I kind of wish that they let us do that with the Peacock Smasher in the mobile firing in this. I just think it would have been cool. Especially when you have stuff like the Vig Nagina, which is letting you do these twirling spins to the side and all this flip dip bullshit with its own alt mode and stuff like that. Again, weird where they put the extra mobility and action in and where they don't. I don't even know if that's necessarily a balance thing, just because this is a general and a little bit more mobile without being support taxed, I guess would be the excuse. But I think they should have just done Rule of Cool on this one, because it feels like it could be doing a lot more. Especially because this does not have the screw web and instead has what the X2 has, which is the full cloth anchor. Obviously, you can do this in the air. There is a lot of versatility to this if you're willing to risk being in one place at one time for a hot minute. Heavy stagger on that, as you can imagine. We also have Vulcan's very solid. I think it's about 13 shots or so with a mag of 70. 200 range on this, 300 range on the rate for the Peacock Smasher, by the way, obviously a little bit higher if you get the charge shot, as tends to be the case. Here's another odd duck, though, in this list of weapons, and the final actual weapon. So we have the shoulder cannons. Shoulder cannons on this do not pulse, they're not automatic, kind of like the ones on the regular X-1, and instead we get another 2-round burst, a little bit more similar to The one on the X-3, I want to say, and some other things that just have a quick burst instant stun. So this is a 2 burst. Does offer effective suppression through high rate of fire, but it is only just 2 with an instant stun on that. Then we had the IF generator. So on top of having some decent buffers on this thing, we do get an I field generator. Temporarily generates an I field in each shoulder, which reduces HP damage from beam attacks and reduces or nullifies reactions. Reactions from cumulative beam attacks are reduced as well. However, exiting during a tackle will cause the I fields to vanish, resulting in overheating. Also compatible with max output, extending the weapon's effect time during max output, which is pretty significant in and of itself. Getting back to the usual stuff here, we're talking about stats and skills. So we got 26k health to juggle here. Ballistic, beam, and melee resistance are 26, 32, and 26 respectively. Range strength is 37, melee strength is 38, so a little bit more balanced there in terms of its offensive capabilities. Movement speed is 140, top speed is 225, thruster gauge of 90, and a turning speed of 81. In terms of its part slots, we have 19, 21, and 17 for close, medium, and long. We do have a decent amount of skills here, as you can see. Emergency Evasion System 3, that's going to be a common thing for a lot of these 700 and above suits that are being introduced. Glide Structure 3, Fall Prevention System, Anti-Blast Stabilizer, Melee Composite System for this. High-Spec Ambec 2, Maneuver Armor 1, Aerial Melee System, High Performance Thruster Control System, Optimized Cooling Efficiency, Flat Booster 2, so you are a little bit more covered in terms of your consumption when it comes to that. Power Accelerator, so you can break out of clashes. Auxiliary Power, which this is one of the big ones, and this is where I start to wonder if maybe they were just okay with this being a safe suit and not a crazy suit, because auxiliary power, as you can imagine, so at 1,000 or more HP, if an attack would destroy you, survive at a set amount of HP instead. Temporarily reduces damage from enemies when activated, nullifies all reactions except for cumulative damage stagger. Oh my god. But only at the point of activation and can't be reactivated. So they have a bunch of survivability with this on. X-1 Full Cloth activates when your unit's full cloth takes a ranged attack. If your unit's HP is maxed out during activation, reactions from the enemy ranged attacks are nullified. If your unit's HP is 50% or higher, damage taken from ranged beam attacks is reduced by 25%. Damage from ranged ballistic attacks is reduced to 20, and reaction is reduced. Then we have max output, which obviously, you know, as we were saying, does a lot of additional damage on a lot of things. While in effect increases the unit attack bar, mobility, high speed movement max limit. It reduces the amount of thruster consumed when moving in high speed. Also negates enemy unit buffer damage reduction, damaging enemy units when hitting their shields. Performance for weapons compatible with the skill are altered, nullifying a reaction to ranged attacks taken when executing a melee attack and reducing damage. This skill can be used again after some time has passed. And because of the way that the melee hits on this, either hits like a truck or hits in multiple things, especially with the downswing on the saber, it's not hard to build up for the max output here. In terms of the raise counter, the usual stuff, 50%, you get a little bit more there. Also temporarily boost attack and defense if your unit and allies within a limited area. Going back a little bit to the enhancement list, then we have Force Deploy, as is pretty common for 5-star suits. +5 the melee modifier, +5 the range strength, and then for the last upgradable one, we have Complex Expansion for 4,600, pretty expensive there. And then for the unlockables, we have +5 the melee resistance and reduces damage from general units by 5% for the anti-general defense program. But enough yapping. At least in that regard, let us now bring this into the practice field and show off what this thing can do before moving on to our match example. Can you tell I'm installing because it's not actually starting? Come on, get on with it, please. Okay. So, you're gonna see pretty quickly here. Like, that's a pretty easy, maybe 2 or 3. The amount of rapidness on this makes it pretty easy to share the love, to be honest. And as you can see, even stray ones, even if they're not hitting all the way, they're hitting for at least a quarter of that accumulation by themselves. Very solid for build up. Once I get this all the way up, we'll just do a quick charge version. Also pulses, and as you can see, it just fans out because of, I think I can show it. Yeah, keep a closer eye when I boost here. So spread out, and then it crunches all inwards forward, and then you get an instant stun out of that while still posting. Pretty nice. For the melee, then we got this bad boy. We got usual thrust here. The side swings on this are actual side swings. I can appreciate that. And not a lot of weird stuff going on with the alt weapons and stuff like that. And then the downswing is just 1, 2, 3. Very big sweeping downswing for that. Obviously you can do your kind of drop cancels to get in there a little bit sharper. And a very big amount of travel time for the fists here. The fists of which you can only do a single swing at any given time. And all of them on contact are instant knockdown with the when I missed. With blowback. And as you can see there, I guess, pretty short on reach. So don't be afraid to try to dig in there if you're going to do anything other than the downswing, which of course, as we'll see in a moment. Good amount of carry out of that. Good amount of distance, and of course, able to be used in the air. So we do have enough for max output here. We're going to show that off. And then, as you'll see, regular downswing. Everything's coming out faster, mind you, because you're able to cancel and do things a little bit quicker. But no special downswings or anything like that. The pulses for these being faster is actually really nice, though. I will say that much. And then, of course, that's going to drain a lot slower for the eye field when you're in this mode compared to normal. The beam gun is something else I'm going to show off. It's just a 2 pulse. As you can see, they're pretty long cooldown time. And if you do it again before it's out of the yellow, you are going to redline it. But it's nice to have the extra stun. I'll be honest though, because you're going to be running into a lot of yourself, it's going to be hard to get those in without really having to avoid a lot of buffers and a lot of stuff when it comes to the fields. You have to really go out of your way to make that sink in. It's decent for a little bit of pressure, all the same, but definitely not where it should be just because of the nature of the things that it's gonna have to fight. But interestingly enough, you know, once we get into the nitty gritty of that, outside of, you know, just 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Well, he also has 17. Has his mode on. Where's our little raid guy? He's in here somewhere. Right? No. Oh, I blasted him forward. That's how I read. We can just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So, 13 shots or so with that. And this is one of those suits where, compared to other entries, like I was saying, not quite as complicated. It feels like it should be a lot more complicated. And up to the release of this, I was like, man, you know, especially because my impression of this comes from Super Robot Wars V. It's like, it's got a lot of stuff going on. These combos look really cool. I wonder how they're really going to try to implement all that, you know, going into, you know, GBO2 when it eventually comes. And some of it makes sense. Other parts of it are a little bit off. But I think it's one of those things where, like, even with the way that it is, it's so haphazard. And if they would have actually given it the full kit, not only would it have been a little busted, but I don't know how many people would really get a handle on it or use all of it consecutively without just being like, nah, I'm just going to focus on this or that. Which, you know, you can always do. But I don't think that's what they want. So it feels like they kind of clamped down on how much they would have put on it normally. But we do have some matches with this. I will say right out the bat that there is a lot of full cloths running around right now. And towards some of the end of our matches, we were getting rounds that were a little bit more representative of what you'll probably be seeing. But some of our better rounds were from before that. So we are going to put one of those up here right around now.
All pilots, prepare for combat. Mobile suits, deploy at once.
Alright, let me make sure my bot's working. Let's go.
Commencing operation.
is not a keyboard. Or it's just a bunch of us trying the same bullshit. I do and don't really understand how it's gravitating towards the reticle. Especially when it ultimately still has to bend a little bit for ASL. Yeah. That would have hit too. Oh. Oh my god. Good downswing. Yeah, real talk, when it comes to like burgers and shit, I would not recommend it because those things are already too frail.
Destroyed an enemy mobile suit.
Got that right. I need to grab this one.
Beacon capture confirmed. Beacon capture.
They're coming. Now they up. Right.
Damage detected. Proceed with caution. Taking too much damage. Mobile suits on its last.
I'm just gonna shot the hell.
Being destroyed.
Gonna resist me. It's one fake dodge. Ooh, that's good at least.
Select a location and method for redeployment.
These guys are all spacing away from each other.
Requesting redeployment. Enemy unit destroyed.
Accumulation on that's ridiculous. What do you mean protect still?
An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit. Enemy unit destroyed.
Oh my god. Just punched him out of the door.
We lost an ally unit. Mobile suits on its last legs. Enemy unit destroyed. We lost an ally unit.
Yeah. Ow. It's beating me up.
Looks like they've got the upper hand for the moment.
I got 4. Big up, brother.
We lost an ally unit. Beacon captured by the enemy.
I don't know if they really have a lot of output when it comes to this suit for the base compared to other stuff.
Requesting redeployment. Bomb's been planted at our base.
I don't know if that guy lost his
2
suit to
minutes
someone
remaining
else or
in
what.
Operation. Bases are especially valuable for this mission. An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit. We lost an ally unit.
Wait, doesn't this have mobile fire? The fuck?
How would you pull off that move?
Oh, wow. Oh shit, oh shit. Ooh, no. Go find out with somebody else.
An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit. Significant damage
Oh,
detected.
oh, but he grabbed him. Oh, I'm still getting shot. Stop. Cease. Ooh, wait, what the? Ah, shit.
Base was wiped out by the enemy.
I got the bomb.
I can't believe this.
Hold on.
A
No.
minute remaining for the operation. Keep pushing.
There's too many of them here. Oh god, no. Don't stop. Yeah.
Destroyed an enemy mobile suit.
No.
No! Mobile suit's been destroyed.
Boost on. Yeah, I must have just come out of it then. When that was happening, I was like, oh, I still got it. No. No.
An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit.
Ooh, 5 back up. Ooh. No, they got somebody. Fucking come on.
Requesting redeployment. An ally has destroyed an enemy mobile suit. Mission has ended. Victory is ours! Thank goodness.
We got a lot of confirms, but yeah, we didn't really do a lot of damage. Hit me so clean. That's cute. But yeah, this
Here's your reward.
it's gonna be a fucking shit fest for a little while when it comes to the comps. I don't think this is gonna be a really particularly strong representation.
Making preparation.
So that was our run in the full cloth. So, especially considering my account that this got put on, you know, I have some suits that I don't mind running. The 91 is still very solid. You'll see it running around and hassling this thing among other things. But I don't have the X-1 on that account. I think this is a very solid stand-in, even though I would say that the X-1 itself, just the regular non-full cloth, is a little bit more visceral than this thing. You know, this really gives you a lot of travel, which I like. But it does seem like the kind of combos and just damage output that the regular X-1 can do makes it more than a match, if not a little bit more mean on the immediate kind of gratification end, by comparison, and I can appreciate that. But I think this, because we have that auxiliary power and the eye fields and the buffers and all this other stuff, this might not be a crazy suit, but it's definitely a solidly safe suit. And I think there's a lot of value in that one way or another, even if it's not necessarily your style of play. So, do I think you absolutely positively have to spin for this in order to do what you gotta do in 750? No. Not to mention, I don't doubt that we'll probably get some other adjustments for stuff at this cost range. Anyway, if you had the 91 or if you had the X1, things like that, even some of the Jupiter battle suits, you're gonna do okay. You'll be fine. This will probably be a bit of a pain in the ass for you to deal with, but I think despite some of the resistances and how annoying the auxiliary power can be, that it's still manageable. But like I said, I'll be running this as much as I can during the week. That'll be the long and short of it for the full cloth as it stands now in my first impressions. Share, like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if you actually spun for this and if you've been enjoying it or not in the comments. And until next time, I hope you guys have a good rest of your morning, night, or whatever. And I'll talk to you all in the next video. Or maybe you can just go check out that other R44 video that we're making totally, right? That's fine.